Good day, good people. Welcome to another purpose-filled episode of Lessons for the Journey. Our podcast is designed to share insights and information on women's wellness, understanding our whys, and the lessons that inspire us to take positive action in ourselves, our families, and our communities. Our topics focus on women's wellness, seeing through a metaphysical lens, sharing spiritual insights, highlighting journey lessons, and building healthy relationships. I am your host, Dr. Hetheru, and I share this space with engaging co-hosts, guests, inspiring topics every Friday at 12 noon for a transformative 1-hour experience here on Podcastic Live and Facebook and YouTube. You can expect deep, thought-provoking conversations on self-discovery and personal growth, special guests, locations, events, people, polls, and thoughts, co-host sharing wisdom and life-changing insights, a powerful blend of spiritual, metaphysical, and wellness lessons, and tools and strategies to help you elevate your mind, your body, and your spirit. Our show is produced by Chantel Mosley of Podcastic Studios. Our co-hosts are Ma'at Sabah, Mary Ibayu, Nicole S. Miller, and some special appearances by Dr. Calvin T. Mann. If you are looking for clarity, healing, personal empowerment, this podcast is for you. So we need for you to turn up, turn in, engage, and transform because your journey of self-discovery starts now. We need for you to get prepared. So I'm going to give you a couple of things you're especially going to need today. You're going to need your water because we need you to be hydrated. We need your executive functions to be taking in all that we're about to share with you. You need your journal or your notebook. You need an ink pen because you need to write this in ink, okay? And so we need for you to activate your spiritual tools that I just shared with you. And get ready because our topic today is, it's one of those topics that's going to take you to another dimension. So we're talking about the consequences of pain and anger on the mind, the body, and the spirit. And we always start off our show with our own reflections from my memos. And so we are going to reach our hand in the memo bag and pull a reflection for today. The last time I was at the bottom of the bag and it got kicked in the head, so I'm going to pull it from the top today. Pulling it from the top. Ooh, okay. My memo says, praise the slightest and every improvement that someone makes, especially children. That is definitely a reminder that, one, we need that affirmation and that positive energy, what it does for yourself to share it, but also what it does for others to hear it. So that's how I see this reflection. Chantel, what do you get?
Mine is really good. It says, if you are too big for criticism, you are too small for praise.
Ooh.
Yep.
Ooh.
Mine has been some heavy hitters.
Right. That's a heavy hitter. It certainly is. It certainly is. How would you use that?
Critiquing. I know a lot of people aren't, the most accepting of it, but I feel like you can critique somebody to help them be better and to help them grow and move further. And if you don't want that, then you don't want to be praised. You don't want to get to the next level. You don't want to grow. So if you can't take one end of it, you don't get to reap the rewards of what can come after listening to the different critiques and different ways of doing things. So,
wow.
Yeah.
So mine says, he who wants to lead the orchestra must turn his back to the audience.
Ooh. Ooh.
That was a really good one.
Yeah. Wow. Okay, what are we going to do with that? How are we going to use that one?
Mm-hmm. Well, this really is in all aspects of life. So let's say in business, or if you're the leader in your family, the father or the mother or the elder or whatever, you have to stay focused. You have to take in what people say, their thoughts, their ideas, and that type of thing. But at the end of the day, you have to be the one to make the final decision. So turning your back on the audience is, to me, staying focused, staying forward, doing what you need to do in spite of everything that's going on and in spite of everything that's said. So,
Wow.
You know,
Ooh.
that's what that means to me.
Ooh. Wow. You know, I love doing, I love my memos. Let me just start off by saying that, because they're reflective in a way that is beyond the surface. You know, I'm hard pressed to deal with a lot of surface stuff. I'm more interested in how what I'm hearing and taking in and sharing penetrates the skin and into the spirit and the soul of a person. I think that's where our real change lies. There's only so much we can do on the surface of the skin, but the real work, I think, is underneath that. And if you are hearing and healing and under the surface, it's going to automatically improve what you see and feel on the outside. So that's one of the reasons why I love my memos. But the other part is you never know what you needed to hear until you hear it. Mm-hmm. And so it, you know, like all three of these are lessons and reflections for me, because it wasn't just for the person who pulled it is for those of us who hear it, right? And so being able to really apply that today, just to my today. I can't change what happened yesterday, but I can take in what I'm hearing today, and I can process that now so that it has a bigger impact in my tomorrow. So yes, indeed. I just want to go over, you know, I always have a topic overview, and of course I'm going to pitch it to my aunt first. So, okay. So the topic is, again, consequences of pain and anger on the mind, body, and spirit. Anger and pain are often seen as separate struggles, but for women, they are deeply connected. Women experience chronic pain at higher rates than men, yet are also more likely to have their pain dismissed, minimized, or misaligned as simply emotional. That level of dismissing builds more anger, and that anger intensifies the pain. Together, they form a self-perpetuating cycle that impacts mental clarity, physical health, and spiritual well-being. We don't address it by changing by changing our habits, behaviors, and frequency, it can become a vicious cycle, especially for us as women. For women, pain and anger are not just private struggles. They are public health concerns. Let me say that again. Our struggle is a public health concern, right? That means your struggle is not just about you, it's everybody who's affected by you and who's affected by them and by them and by them. So our struggle is, we have to take it more serious. And it's a public health concerns and spiritual battles. Addressing them together creates a pathway back to wholeness, a mind that is steady, a body that is cared for, and a spirit that is connected and resilient. Your thoughts on this?
Well, you know, as women, we do suffer in silence. And it's unfortunate. One of the things that would be beneficial, because we can talk about our own journeys and what that looks like, but one of the things that would be beneficial is if a woman has a circle of other women that she could connect with. Mm-hmm. Sometimes when you go through things, you don't want to share it with certain people, family members, your associates, and that type of thing, because it's not a safe environment to do that. To have an environment, a circle of people, and that doesn't have to be just women, it could be men too, but certain issues only a woman can understand. And so that's why it's important to have a circle of women that you can talk to, that you can bounce things off. Ideally, women of different age levels, preferably some older than you, that can identify with what you're doing on some level. And women that have integrity, women that have done some inner healing, so they're not coming from a perspective of anger or jealousy or something that they have going on, which is why they give you the advice that they give you, because it's their stuff. And so when you have that, you can navigate through whatever it is that you're going through, your challenges, especially if you have children, especially if it's your first, you've never been a mother before. Mm-hmm. You could have babysitted, but that's not the same thing as your own. So to have women who have been down those roads that are coming from a space of love, want to see you grow, want to see you heal, want the best for you. That's what's really important, to help women to start to process everything that they're going through and learn to look at it with a different lens. So I think that's really important, and that's not something that has been done, at least when I was, younger and going through things. I did have some, I could talk to my mom. There were some people that I could talk to, not many. So as I look back in retrospect, had I had that circle of women that I have now, things would have been different. But everything's in divine order, so I don't regret anything I've gone through, because everything that I went through has helped somebody else.
For sure. What I thought about as you were sharing is that the phrase that we often say, I won't complain. And I hear that so much that, and we have a certain level of polite answers that we give people, right? How you doing? I'm good. What is the one that you often hear? Blessed and highly favored. And then I won't complain. And I understand the polite answer, because often you just don't want to get into it. You just don't want to rehash some of the things that you've already been going through or reflecting on. And especially when you say, you're blessed and highly favored. I believe in the speaking of the powerful affirmation. And also, sometimes you have to share that. And I try to be as authentic as I can, even when I'm asked that question. And I try to give a answer that is true to me, in a way that I can still say, I'm not good. I'm not so good. I don't want to say I'm not good. What I want to say is, this is what I'm going through. Like I am in a bit of an emotional space. My son just checked into the dorm yesterday to start this next chapter of his life. Everybody's waiting for me to drop tears. I didn't have tears. What I had was a overwhelming sense of emotion around this next chapter for him. And why that was so big for me is that my son, he was born premature. And he had to stay in the hospital for 2 months before he could come home. And my blood pressure was out of control. And they kept trying to get me to relax, and he's going to be okay. And that was a difficult time for me. So one of the ways that I was coping was, every time I would sit with him, I would picture him getting older. So I would picture what he would be like at 3 years old. I would picture what he was like at 5 and going into kindergarten. I would picture what he was like as a teenager. Like, I did that all the way up to him being like 35, because he was in the hospital for a long time. But that was what helped me to cope, was to see him grow. Just, I guess it's my own time lapse video, but to see him grow helped me grow through it. And so, and having that and doing that, there was an expectation about his quality of life and how he would be loved and all those kind of things. And I mean, it was a very intentional space, because I had to keep going there, because if I was looking at what, him on the oxygen and his little bitty body, it was very, very difficult. And so I couldn't get control over my emotions and my blood pressure. So that's what I did. And so one of the moments that I had aged him to was what he would decide to do. Was he going to college? Was he going to trade school? Was he going to be an entrepreneur? Like, what would be his journey? And so I picked all those different pathways for him, and I spent time in that thought, right? So that I could cope. And so what was happening for me was all of those moments I spent aging him, and he's actually at this age now. And so I was feeling that part of the emotion. I was feeling great amount of pride for how he was handling himself, and, and how he was taking it all in, and his honesty. He was saying, I'm really nervous. I know this is a real sign of me being grown, and doing things on my own and making decisions. And I'm listening. I'm taking it all in. I'm like, yep. And so he's like, you okay? I said, I'm happy and I'm proud of you. And that was my response. It was my truth, but I was also very emotional for the reasons I just shared with you. But I didn't need to get into all of that with him. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So it was my honest and authentic answer, and it was the truth that I had to share with him, so he knows where I am and what I'm feeling, without me having to disclose every single thing that I was feeling. But and I was calling when I pulled off the campus. I called my sister, and I was just yelling in the phone. I was just yelling her name. And she was like, OMG, OMG, right? So she gets it. But again, it was that safe space. My sister, because she's my sister. That's one of the reasons. But I called her for that level of support where I don't have to explain. Mm-hmm. All I did was just say her name. And she was just, OMG, oh. I didn't have to explain anything. I was like, I'm just pulling out the campus. She was like, Yeah. And that was really, we were grunting. That was our conversation, but I didn't have to go into it. Yeah. And then she started repeating my name. Like, you didn't have to say all this stuff. I called my aunt. I called her too. And I was like, and she was all in it for me. She was all there for me. Just the encouragement, just the right words that you need to hear. It's certain things that you need from certain people, right? So it is important to have that circle of people. Absolutely. But it's also important that you are sharing, because if I had to keep all that inside of me for the whole day, I'm not sure how I could really have managed the day, right? My husband was there, and he was like, you okay? He asked me that all day yesterday, are you okay? Are you okay? You seem to be okay. Are you okay? Are you okay? And I was like, everybody's waiting for me to break with the waterworks. But I was really in deeper reflection and a sense of pride. So that part of the emotion, right? And even as I think back on that particular moment of him being in the hospital, I was angry. I felt like it must have been something that I did or didn't do while he was premature, right? He had to go through this. It took me some years to really unravel that I felt a sense of blame for that, and I had to receive that how he came, the package that he came in was part of the journey that he had to take. But while he was in the hospital, he touched so many people. I would come in and the nurse would say, well, he did this today. He was smiling all day today. He was touching my face. Like, this is a premature child that was making eye contact and smiling at people and touching their face. And I was like, what? He is really an angel. I don't get to see that part. Yeah, right. I get to see the mom. That's what I get. Yeah. I don't get the angel part, right?
He has an innocence about him that's very rare, very, very rare, and that's why I say he's an angel. So, okay, you can't discipline him in front of me.
Oh no, another pod person, another aunt pod person, right? So. I wanted to share that because I think it's important that even a moment like that, even a truth like that, sometimes has to be released. And when you're in a safe space, I'm in the studio with my sisters right now. I'm in a safe space, so I can share that. The rest of you out there listening, guess what? I will share my truth so you can have it, so you can use it to help move you forward and know that it's real. It's real. This is a real journey. This is a real thing. Mm-hmm. And so is the anger. So is the anger. The issue is not being angry. The issue is not the pain. The issue is staying in that space for longer periods of time. Mm-hmm. We're talking about the consequences of that, but we're also talking about the consequences of not doing that. The benefits to your mind, body, and spirit to not do that and live that way. So I want to share a little bit more about what happens when we hold on to pain and anger. So from pain and anger, women's pain is often dismissed by medical providers, family, or partners. Feeling dismissed feeds the anger layered with feelings of injustice. And so, but we're not expressing it, but we're expecting that other people are going to take us seriously. And if we keep, it's like crying wolf, right? How you doing? I'm blessed and highly favored. You might be blessed and highly favored, but you're also not feeling your best. You're emotional. You're stuck in a space. Like, even just releasing that through saying it does not condemn you to that. If you stay there for longer periods of time and that's continuously your mantra and you're not doing anything behind that, the consequence is now that people think you're crying wolf or think you're much stronger than you are. And a lot of us, the perception is that we're so super strong. And this is part of one of the issues in Black maternal health, right? Especially with in childbirth. And medical professionals look at Black women and say, oh, how many kids have you had? Or what kind of things have you gone through? Or generally say, but Black women are so strong. We are, absolutely. But we also need proper care. We need to be heard. We need to be taken seriously. And so that means that when you're feeling pain, it's not about your tolerance for it. We get to a point where I can tolerate more and more and more of this. And then the perception that we give is that you can tolerate more and more and more and more. And we have to do something about breaking that cycle and breaking that mindset, right? But if we are not speaking up, if we're not sharing the real truth, it's not that we can't endure, because we can, but you should not have to. All right. And so from anger, more pain. When anger increases, stress hormones and muscle tension, and it all increases, right? And then the pain perception and fatigue follow. So when you start to, as you keep saying, I'm good. Oh no, I'll take care of that later, or I'll wait until I have more time to deal with this. I've said it all. I've done that myself. And so it doesn't change your situation to wait. It doesn't change your situation to wait for long periods of time. Well, I had this pain in my side for like the last 3 months. The last 3 months, we have to do better. And then as a sister and a friend and someone in your circle, if they're hearing you say that over and over again, and they're not encouraging you, they're not putting a tonic in front of you, they're not saying, well, I have a friend that is this type of practitioner, I saw a video that said, and here it is. Like, we have to be more proactive. So part of the consequences of our sisterhood is that you have somebody that's helping you find new tools and find another way. Mm-hmm. And then that cycle gets entrenched. And women start to internalize, or some women, not all, begin to internalize and begin to normalize the burdens. And as we are normalizing this burden, we start to fall into a loop, because then the next thing happens and we do the same thing. We handle it the same way. Then the next thing, and we handle it the same way. We are breaking cycles today. We are giving ourselves permission to break the cycle, to get the help, to ask for help, to ask for support. To, even if you say, well, I can't really get into it right now, I just need your support. That could be through prayer. That could be, give me a minute. That could be, can I come and sit on your couch? Can I come and sit on your porch? Whatever kind of support you might need, ask. And so the last one, which I think my aunt is going to get a lot more into, around the frequency. Your frequency. Your frequency should be around 62 to 68 megahertz. Let's just call that is your that's your ground zero, your threshold, ground zero. When you wake up in the morning, this is the center of your threshold. It's not high, it's not low, it's just a starting point. What you do and what you say after that point will take it either higher or take it lower. And dis-ease and discomforts are frequencies that are much lower than that. And so we want to be aware, and we want to make sure that we are being intentional about how we are addressing what we need to address on a daily basis. So I'm going to patch this over because I really want you to talk more about this frequency and how it affects your mind, body, and spirit.
Well, we are a multi-dimensional, multi-layer beings. And most people, all they know is the physical body. But you have an energetic body as well. And your energetic body is what gets affected first before your physical body, which, of course, we don't know that. We're not told that. We have these layers of frequency around us. Chantel, can you put that? It's the one with me on there. The other one. Okay. That's called a aura picture. That's a picture of me. And you see these different colorations around me. There's some people have the ability to see what we call auras. Most people sense them, but some people can actually see these energy fields around us. When they say we're all connected, they're not just saying that for no reason. We literally are energetically connected to each other. That's the purple on the very outside, that deep blue, that extends out approximately 3 feet from the body. There's another energetic field beyond that. And then there's another one beyond that extends out into infinitum. So when you think something, whether it's positive or negative, the moment that you think it, that coloration changes. You know how they say, I'm green with envy? Okay, so when they talk about these colors with sayings like that, that's what they're talking about. The color of the aura changes. Excuse me. Because I do energy work, energy healing work. I do Reiki, which is a hands-on healing technique. And I also do a breathing technique called theta breath, which is extremely intense. I don't do it often because it's extremely intense, but it will bring out deep emotional pain. So can you put that one more second? You see a different coloration on my hands. So my left hand is white, which is the receiving hand. The right hand is like a bluish color. That's the sending out hand. So the left side receives and the right side gives. So the other white areas, I was told that those are like spirit guides or something. Whether it is or not, I don't know. But that's what I was told. So you can look up aura pictures. It's called AURA. You can look that up online. There are some people in Detroit that will do aura pictures. It's a little on the expensive side, but it's interesting to have one done of yourself. Everything has an aura. Everything that has life has an aura. Trees, animals, everything. So we literally are connected to each other. Now, when you go through a trauma, that aura can have holes in it, or what they call tears or fissures. When that happens, that's when different energies can penetrate your aura, and now you've opened yourself up to illness, disease, or spirits. So what you eat spiritually, mentally, emotionally is your food. So if you entertain a lot of negativity, drama, gossip, angry people, taking substances, all of those can affect your energy field or your aura. And then the next thing you know, things start showing up in your world. Stuff starts happening, one thing after another. Negativity, you start magnetizing negative situations and negative people to you. So to strengthen the aura, you do the exact opposite. So you focus on positive things. Listen to motivational speakers, positive, inspirational music, saying affirmations, being around people that are positive. Go out in nature, walk out amongst the trees, go around water, step in the water, walk around on the grass barefooted. Eating live food. From life comes life. You eat meat, not to Not to put anybody down about that.
My hamburger, right.
But from life comes life.
Right.
Live foods give you energy. Things that are not live cannot give you energy because it has no energy in it. So when you eat meat, you're eating something that has no energy. It cannot energize you. It might be satisfying your tongue, but it does not energize you. It does not give you life.
Right.
So these are some of the things that can affect you. And that's why it's really important, again, to have a circle. Find people that will support you. Find people that can love on you. Do some inner work. They call it shadow work now, or I call it self-analysis, but they call it shadow work now, to go in and start dealing with the things that you don't want to deal with. Your anger, your unforgiveness, your guilt, different traumas. There are people that can guide you through those processes. Those will strengthen your energy field and strengthen your aura. So there are things that can be done. And the more you do that, you raise your frequency. And when you raise your frequency, what you'll find out is that certain things that you used to entertain, you can't do it anymore. Your circle of people is going to change. Then they're going to say, oh, you acting funny. No, our frequencies don't match anymore. I love you, but I love you where you at, but I'm going to go over here now. My life is changing, it's different.
Yes.
I want new things, I want different things, I want to be happy. And so those things won't satisfy your spirit anymore. So those are some of the things, for the sake of time, those are some of the things that I suggest that can be done.
Thank you so much. And we're talking about the consequences. So when we talk about consequences, it can be positive or negative. Consequences are just the outcomes of an action, a thought, a habit, a behavior, right? It is the outcome. And so I want to make sure that that's clear, but it's sometimes the more jarring information gets our attention because it is necessary for some reason, and God knows this about us, right? That we respond more quickly to pain than we do pleasure and passion. And so pain is a tool to show you is to guide your attention, grab your attention, to have you focus in a particular area, right? That area could be if you're having headaches. What are you thinking? Are your thoughts aligning with what you believe or what you want to say or what you want to do? It's not a judgment. It's not a judgment. Pain is not a judgment. Joy is not a judgment. We put judgment on those things. They are indicators. They are saying, not this, try this. They are saying, do you really want to continue down this pathway? Do you want to keep doing what you're doing and expecting a different outcome? That's what pain is for. Whether it's heartbreak pain, whether it's physical pain. No, we're talking mind, body, and spirit, right? And so we have to really look at that in a way that is evolving and not judgmental. We are the ones that put judgment on things. The universe is not putting judgment on us. The universe is our collaborator. The universe is our ally. And if this is the best way to reach you, this is what's going to show up for you. And so I prefer the loving, joy, passion way than the pain way. So I don't want to have to go through pain to get it, right? So I constantly am doing my reflections and inner work. That's another reason why that my memo is another great tool. But I also want to tell you that the people who are involved with this podcast, Lesson for the Journey, each one of us has specific healing modalities. And I may not be the right guide for you. Maybe my aunt is. If my aunt isn't the right guide, Mary Ibayu may be. If Mary Ibayu isn't, then Nicole S. Miller would be. We all have come together for this podcast to pour into you, to break habits, to lift you up through our experience and our lessons. This is, I don't know about other podcasts, this is not for entertainment purposes. You can get that anywhere. You can go to YouTube to be entertained. We need for you to get the lesson for your journey, your inspired journey. This is a lesson. And I want to make sure that I share this one quick too. And again, this is not about judgment, right? This is my way of pouring into what I have learned. Be mindful of what you wear on your chest. One of our mentees, I had a chance to see this weekend, and he had a T-shirt on that had, I guess it's a popular artist. That's not my genre, but it's a popular artist, and it had him blowing smoke in the air. Like the whole front of the T-shirt is a man with his head tilted to the side, and it looked like he just took some puffs or something and blew it out. Now, again, there's no judgment on it, but he is maybe 14, 15. But that's the image that you're wearing. And I saw the shirt, and I was like, I was trying to process it, right? And after he left, I was like, did he have a shirt on with somebody like smoking weed or smoking? And you are not only are you advertising that message to other people, but that is what you are wearing on your skin, the largest organ that you have, the impression that you have placed on it. And it didn't occur to me to say something. I was just really kind of just a little bit baffled by what I was seeing, because I couldn't process it right away. But let me say, there is a message that is occurring for women. It's called the She Can movement. The launch is August 31st. I want you to really, we're talking about she, right? We're talking about the power of the woman, the female, this energetic source of who we are, right? I want you to consider, what are you wearing today? What affirmation, what are you affirming, and what are you placing on this largest organ of your body? What message are you giving yourself? What message are you giving others who can see you? And so I just want you to stop today and consider, what is your message? What are you saying to yourself and affirming to other people that this is who I am? This is what I feel. This is what I believe. It is that serious. It is that serious what you wear. It is that serious what you're saying. It really makes a difference. And I just talked about the fact that your aura can be changing. How you draw people to you or repel people away from you is a part of all of that. We can do something about it. We don't have to stay this way. We don't have to stay in this place. We are here to break old habits and to raise your awareness that this is part of your journey. This is a part of that lesson. So join us as we keep moving through this process. I know I got a lot to share. I got a lot to say. That's why we had to do a podcast. All right. So I do want to talk about some statistics around why addressing this matters to the physical body and the mental body and the spiritual body. So I'm going to share with you a couple of facts. Chronic pain. This is around chronic pain. In 2023, 28% of U.S. women reported chronic pain compared to 21% of men. Women are more likely to have high-impact pain that disrupts work and family. This is around mental health. Women with chronic pain are 50% more likely to experience depression than men with chronic pain. And in terms of our culture, African American and Latino women report higher rates of untreated pain and less access to quality care, increasing anger, our stress, and our spiritual disconnection. Like, as a result of not dealing with it. These are some of the things that we are experiencing, and you are not alone in this experience, is what these statistics are saying to you. But you can change that. And some of the tools that we shared and things that we talked about today, you can apply. It works for you too. It's designed for us to use it. That's why we're sharing it one to another. And so I want to talk a little bit more deeply about how this affects the mind. And so I know you have lots of this insight too. So jump right in if there's something that you wanna comment on, and of course, Chantel, you too. On the mind, connection to mental health, women with chronic pain are twice as likely to report depression and anxiety compared to men. Just to report it, right? Anger at not being believed, coupled with ongoing pain, magnifies our risks. So when we go on and we like, oh, I'm just going to hold it in, I'm not going to say anything, and we don't go about using healthy strategies to help navigate, it's to our detriment too. Cognitive stress. Elevated cortisol from unprocessed anger disrupts memory and concentration. Midlife women 40 to 60 report higher brain fog during chronic stress, especially when juggling caregiving, work, and health. That would be my area. I get the brain fog sometimes because I am a caregiver for a parent. I am a wife and a mom and an entrepreneur and a coach. All those things, if I don't, that's an indicator for me. Okay, time to step back, clean, cleanse, decompress, and then you can go back to what you've been called to do. But, and we all have these tools. And if that means sitting in a circle with my sisters and, pouring that out and getting some answers and some insight with some wisdom, that's what is my next step. So actually using the words that we're talking about now. Emotional traps. Women are socialized to suppress anger, leading it to resurface as fatigue, withdrawal, somatic symptoms, fueling the stereotype of being tired or emotional when the real issue is pain. The real issue is pain. You could be having cramps. You could be having muscle spasms. You could be having discomfort in your back and your shoulders and your neck. And when you're not feeling your best, that means that your executive functions are compromised too. That means that I'm feeling some kind of way, and if you say it one more time, I have lost my patience. I've lost my patience. So, and I'm not going to go back and forth with you. So it's going to cause me to lash out but I'm really lashing out because I feel this amount of pain. It's not really you that you're asking me over and over again, because sometimes I'm okay with that, right? If I'm a parent and I know this is the person's habit, you already know that it's not them, right? It is what you're holding on to, and that pain continuing to trigger you, and it's coming out as a lash instead of as an inner guidance to, it's time to take some time for you. We got to deal with this, right? And then lastly in this section on the mind, the loss of identity. Pain can prevent women from fulfilling roles that they value as mother, partner, professional, community leader, leading to shame and erosion of self-worth. Mm-hmm. Because I'm not at my best. I can't give my best. I'm going to struggle. I'm going to show up. I'm going to be there, but I'm not feeling my best, and I'm not doing anything to change it. That's the part of it. You are entitled to be tired. You're entitled to withdraw. You're entitled to have the experiences that you're having. But for your benefit, for our collective benefit, we don't want you to stay there. We need to do what we need to do to help us get out. And so some of the work that we do is designed for that purpose. And so I'm going to pitch this again to my aunt. Any thoughts that you have in this area around the mind?
Women and especially mothers, everything is expected of you from everybody in every direction. I mean, it is what it is. You need to learn to give yourself downtime, whatever that looks like. I was talking to either my daughter or my niece, and we were talking about when your kids are little, they give you no time at all. They will follow you from one room to the other.
Right.
As long as they can see you, they're good. But get out of eyesight, and it's a problem. You go to the bathroom, they're sticking their fingers up underneath the door. Mom, when you coming out? Mm-hmm. So you don't get that downtime because you have all of these roles that you have to fulfill. And then over time, one of the things that happened, and it happened to me, one of the things that happened is, as it says, you do lose identity of who you are. I was very artistic. I used to sew my own clothes. I did ceramics. I did crocheting. I did knitting, painted, all of that kind of stuff. And now when my kids got grown and gone, I'm like, hey, what do I do now?
Right.
So you have to rediscover yourself. Had I had a process along the way, had I had the tools. Now, women told me, you have to give yourself some time. I get that. But back then, I was like, what does that look like?
Right.
Because you get 5 minutes, and then you got to cook dinner or the lunch, and then do homework, and then clean, and then do this and do that. Yes. Then it's time to go to bed. And then the hamster wheel cycle starts all over again. So when do you have time to do you? But I found out eventually that I had to write that into my schedule. And one of my tools was, if somebody called me or I needed to do something, I would go to the bathroom. I tell everybody, make sure you don't have to go.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to be in here. Most people don't bother you when you go in the bathroom. Also, I would go sit in the car. Or I would tell people I have a meeting. When you tell people you have a meeting, everybody respects that. Mm-hmm. I have a meeting from 1 to 2 o'clock every day this week. Mm-hmm. You know, not every day, every on this particular day at this particular time, 1 to 2 o'clock. Nobody bothers you. Mm-hmm. If that's what you have to do, then that's what you need to do.
Right.
To give yourself the peace that you need. But again, it goes back to having a circle of women or someone that can assist you in walking through this path that really has been there and done that already. Mm-hmm. For men, their stress, they have a high stress level, do not get me wrong, but their stress level is different. And they are going to release that. That's why they have man caves, or they go fix the car, or go play cards, or whatever it is they do with their homies. They release that energy. We typically don't get a chance to do that. And so it's really important to add your me time, your downtime to your schedule, make everybody respect it. Listen, from on this day and on this time, it's me time. You all better figure it out. That's why they have police and EMS to address any situation that you might have. But don't bother me during this time. Mm-hmm. If you have to do that, then that's what you have to do.
Absolutely.
But it's really critical, because it will affect you physically. And some of the physical problems that women are having are not technically physical. It was initiated by some type of emotional situation that manifests physically, because it's not being dealt with here and in your heart and spiritually. So that's really important to deal with it on those levels first.
Absolutely. Blessings. Chantel, do we have a commercial? Yes. Be right back.
Are you an indie podcast or content creator looking to reach a wider audience? Look no further. Introducing Podcastic, the ultimate podcast network designed exclusively for indie creators like you. At Podcastic, we believe in the power of unique voices and fresh perspectives. We're here to amplify your passion and creativity, connecting you with the growing community of engaged listeners who crave original content. Podcastic is more than just a platform. It's a support system built for indie podcasters, offering a range of resources to help you succeed. From tailored promotional campaigns to professional production assistance, we're here to help you shine. Our intuitive platform makes it easy for you to be seen and heard. We do all the heavy lifting for you. You just show up and create. Plus, with our advanced analytics, you'll gain valuable insights into your audience's preferences, allowing you to refine your content and grow your fan base. Ignite your passion, expand your reach, and thrive with podcasting. Visit our website at www.podcasticlife.com to get started. Podcastic, the home for indie podcast and content creators.
We are back, and we have a question pending on the set today. Chantel, you want to share the question?
Yes. So my question was pretty much asking for a younger person in business, or just working with predominantly older people, and growing up with the core value of not disrespecting elders, being seen, not heard, things of that nature, not wanting to come off as disrespectful. How do you go about setting those healthy boundaries, or quote unquote putting your foot down to make business and or other conversations and things just flow?
Can you give an example of?
Yes, I can give an example. So, say pretty much you're in a group setting and you're working on something. Maybe you think that that the plan should play out in a different route, or you have a more effective way that may be different from past ways or things like that. So, you know, maybe responding to it and letting them know, like, hey, it's another way, this is not how we should do it. Or just, you know, maybe more escalated events to where it does get maybe a little bit more of an attack. How do you go about still respecting yourself, respecting them, but still putting your foot down and letting them know, like, you're serious?
So I'll start with this. So I do a workshop that's an intergenerational, not actually a training. It's an intergenerational training, and it's exactly that. It's how do people from different generations work together, right? One major way is understanding that each generation has that same kind of core value, and what respect is may vary from generation to generation. So respecting that. But the second thing, and one of the important tools that I teach people during that time, is that there is objective reasoning, subjective reasoning, and being able to come together in a consensus. So those are 3 tools. So objective reasoning really comes from having facts, credible witness, that once your information is supported by that. So as you notice in our conversation today, one of the tools that I used was facts, right? And these are not opinions. So subjective reasoning is going to be your opinions, your own personal experience. People confuse subjective reasoning with facts.
Yes. Just
because it's your personal opinion or experience, it may not be backed up by facts. And so when you're when you're sharing from that point of view, it's opinion. And when you're working with older people, typically they need facts. Supported by wise counsel, supported by a credible witness. So, like if you're saying something like we're talking about from the Center from Disease Control, right? They say that this is what is impacting women. So when you're speaking with them, and I know sometimes it may just be spontaneous, but the more facts that you have, the more respect that people from older generations, they respect statistics. Right, because we say that has been done by the credible witness. If it's just your opinion, people have less sensitivity to opinion, especially when they're looking at you and they're older and they're like, I have so much more life experience than you. Yeah. So my opinion and my experience is more than what you, or maybe the perception is that it's more than what they have. And so that's really where the issue is. You know, here you are, 2 years old, trying to tell me I'm 22 years old, and you're trying to tell me how to roller skate, and this has been my favorite thing all this time, you know. Right. And so, but it's opinion. So when you're able to recognize and combine those things, well, I feel like this, but I've seen this done by this expert, that expert. It helps to relieve some of that tension because they're more likely to hear you that way. And then the last one is consensus. Consensus means that everybody's voice is heard. If everybody's voice is heard, you cannot have consensus. And then what you agree to is to hear somebody out. That's all it is. Agreeing to hear somebody out. And once you hear them out, you gain new insight and new information that you may not have had. That's and true. It helps to align you better. And then you're not arguing somebody's thoughts and opinions because their thoughts and opinions have value. And we can't overjudge that somebody else's experience doesn't have value when you're talking about their experience. It's no argument. If you say that, like I am, if you're up 5'7", you're 5'7". Yeah. I will agree with you because I am 5'7". Yeah, and you know that. I am 5'8" when I retire. That is the goal. Whatever happens, that's my goal.
I'm 5'8".
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
So I mean that's what I do in my trainings to make sure that we're understanding, because once you understand it's somebody's opinion, how are you arguing somebody else's experience and their opinion? You have no weight, right? Unless they're trying to force their opinion or their experience on you.
Right.
That's when you have the agitation, and that's when you have the disagreement. So subjective, objective, and consensus, right? Those are good tools.
Yeah.
No?
I agree with that too. The other thing is, when you talk to people, especially if it's a sensitive subject, ask it in the form of question.
Okay.
So you said such and such. So why do you feel that? Also, the thing about facts is important. So let's say, for instance, you've got your own podcast, and someone suggests that you should advertise in a specific way. Okay, if your audience, the facts are is you have a younger audience, and younger audiences tend to look at different specific platforms, and so you give the specifics about those platforms based upon what you're trying to do and how you're trying to grow your podcast. So it's not emotional, it's facts and figures for what it is that you're trying to do, and that's where that part comes in. We have to respect each other's opinions, but they are just that, and they can give their opinion. That doesn't mean you have to do it. So you can also agree to disagree.
That is true.
Oh, thank you,
ladies.
So I know we might have to do a part 2 of this one, Ma.
Yeah.
This is a deeply,
because it's so deep. It
is.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's
we
not
really
a-
do need to do it. Honestly, we do need to do a part
It
2
is.
because
It's
we're
very deep.
just scratching the surface on some of these things.
Right.
Because it's so serious. At the end of the day, this is the root of why women are having the problems that they're having.
yes.
And so to just kind of like gloss over some of these because for the sake of time is not doing it justice.
Yeah.
So I really think that we need to take this.
I think this could actually
To
be
another
a part
show.
2 and 3.
Yeah. Seriously, because if you just focus on one,
Yeah.
if you just focus on one, the mind, if you focus on the body, and you talk about
Right.
Yeah.
the physical illnesses that women have and which ones are directly related to their emotions, which technically they all are.
Yes, indeed.
And how and why that happens and what you do about it,
Yes.
the tools, the spiritual level, that the spiritual support that they don't have, and that's something that they don't talk about. They're going through things spiritually. There's women who have spiritual gifts that they dare not speak about. You know, I see spirits. I have dreams. I see things. And so they feel afraid to even speak on that gift and don't even know what to do with it and how to use it.
That's
So-
big with empaths.
Oh, absolutely. They don't even know they're an
women
empath.
who are empaths and at different levels of being empathic. That's the other piece. It's not a one size fits all as an empath.
Absolutely.
It definitely is not. So yeah, well, I think we will have a part 2 of this so that we can continue to build on the momentum, but also give people an opportunity in between our shows to practice some of the new skills. Right. I think that'll be helpful.
Each one of these, honestly, should be a show.
Right.
Yes,
No,
for
I'm
the
serious.
mind, body,
Yeah.
and the spirit.
And breaking the cycle. I mean, my God.
Right.
'Cause that's what we need to do. We need to break. But you can't break it if you don't know.
What
If you don't
you're
have the
breaking.
tools.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And if you don't have the tools or recognize it. So, all right, good people, we are going to make this a part 2. And so we want to, before you go though, let's give you some tools to work on. So the first thing that I want to suggest to you, as you know, I told you in the beginning, get your water. Right? Because a dehydrated body, a dehydrated person does not make good choices and decisions. Because you can't, because your body is in survival mode. It's just trying to hydrate to get enough oxygen to your blood. It's a whole process that's happening. So we have to make sure, one, that we're staying hydrated, and especially when you are a decision maker, so that you don't make decisions that you have to go back and fix and redo and all the things that go along with that. So first tool of choice is hydrate. Second tool that I would ask you to continue to use is your notebook or journal. Writing is not just therapeutic, but these are spiritual practices and principles. That means that you are addressing that issue within your spirit. And the more you write, and as you write, that means that those things are coming to the surface so that they can come through your spirit into your mind and out of the mind-body's experience. So we want to be, and then you can see it and you can always go back and reflect on it. So when you make an entry in your journal, I would encourage you to make a date entry and a time entry so that you can start seeing that the patterns are happening at this time. And so those are two things I want to share with you that you take that you're going to hear me say those over and over again. So what tools would you offer?
I always come from a spiritual perspective. So taking downtime, quiet time, meditation, prayer is critical to be able to step away so that you can see things from a different lens. When you're deep into it, you can't see it because it's all that muckety-muck. But take the time, take a spiritual bath, even if you just have some salts put in there. Do that. Prayer is when you talk to God. Meditation is when you listen to God. We do a lot of talking, but we don't do enough listening. If you use the tools of meditation and prayer, you will get some of the answers that you need. You don't have to look outside and listen to other people's opinions. You get it straight from the source. Feed yourself wholesome foods. Give yourself enough rest. And let your no mean no and your yes mean yes. So if you start with those, because it doesn't sound like much, but it is.
Wow. Chantel, do you have anything you want to add in terms of tools?
Like you said, the support of having your village, having your sister groups to be able to just lift you up, because we go through a lot of stuff on a daily basis. And like you said, it's okay to have your moment, just not stay there. And another thing that you said that stuck out to me was that we are kind of connected and we go through things, and it's not just us who are going through them. So keep that in mind. Know that it's not you, even though it may seem like it, and you're not alone, and you don't have to go through the journey alone.
Blessings.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Well, my prayer is that we have delivered on what we started to do today, which was to help create some change, to share some lessons so that your next experience can be one of your best experiences, right? And to remind you that you are not alone. We share these experiences. We share our story and our wisdom to impact. That is what we do to advance. That is what we do to elevate. Because as I elevate, you elevate. As I get more information, I'm sharing that information out. Because at the time of my departure, I want to have shared everything that I have gotten in my journey in one form or another. So you can find my aunt and I both have books. We have our social media. We have videos. And we are available for workshops, for trainings, and we also are available for one-on-one coaching. So my aunt, share how they can get in touch with you.
Email address is relationshipfirstaid@yahoo. Website relationshipfirstaid.com, and Facebook is Relationship First Aid. Keep it simple.
Right. And you can find me at yourinspiredjourney.com. But you can also reach out and call me by phone, which I encourage you to do, at 313-759-7855. That is 313-759-7855. And if you can't remember any of those sources, Google us. You'll find us on Google. Take good care, good people. Stay clear. Until next time.